Summer will expose you. December will judge you. The man who wastes summer wakes in winter with nothing but regret. While others drink the poison of pleasure, you must drink the discipline of purpose. This is not vacation. It is examination. Not recess, it is reckoning. The world will tell you to rest. The sun will tempt you to drift. But the rare man, the man who rules when the leaves fall, is the man who plants in heat, who sharpens in silence, who builds when the crowd sleeps. And I am not here to pat your back. I am here to confront your soul, because you have wasted summers before. You have drifted before. You have watched the calendar pass while your future starved. Not this time. You will not go soft in heat and expect to rise in cold. You will not worship comfort while demanding greatness. For 7 parts I will give you law, mental law, spiritual law, wealth law. You will leave this season unrecognizable, but only if you obey. So answer me now. What will you have to show for this summer? Say it aloud. I build when others rest. I plant in heat to reap in winter. Say it again, louder. Summer will expose you. December will judge you. These are not poetic words. They are law, immutable, undeniable, eternal. Every season is a test, and this season, the one that lulls most men into sleep, is the one that will tell the truth about what you really believe, about what you really want, about who you really are. While the world strips off its discipline with the rising heat, the rare man sharpens. While others drift into long days of relaxation, numbness, and mindless pleasure, the man who understands power tightens his structure. Because he knows what the world forgets, summer is not a vacation, it is a battlefield. A silent war is waging now, not with swords or fire, but with rhythm, decisions, and habits. And the man who loses that war will not know it until the cold months return, and he sees what he failed to plant when the sun was high and his spirit was weak. Listen to me now and listen carefully. The man who wastes June will mourn in December. The man who sleeps in July will suffer in January. The man who drifts now will pay later. Not in theory, not in abstract, but in results, in missed goals, in broken promises, in another year wasted, in another winter of maybe next time. This is not just about summer. This is about rhythm, identity, legacy. You think you're just relaxing, but what you're really doing is voting for the man you'll be 6 months from now. And you cannot escape that vote. You cannot plead ignorance. You cannot blame the heat, the parties, the travel, or the need to unwind. These are not reasons. These are lullabies of failure. Every time you say, I'll get serious in the fall, you are building the grave of your potential. Every hour you drift in the name of fun, you train your mind to quit when conditions are easy, which means you will collapse when they are hard. I will not tell you to balance your life. I will not tell you to enjoy yourself. You have done enough of that. Look at your life. Look at the habits you are keeping. Look at the work you are avoiding. Look at the self you are betraying every time you say, it's just the summer. Do you think greatness waits for the weather to change? Do you think Carnegie built empires by taking breaks when the sun rose high? Do you think Ford designed revolution on holiday? Do you think Edison waited until fall to enter the laboratory of genius? Number these men built legacies of thunder in seasons of quiet. When others paused, they persisted. When others relaxed, they refined. And that is why we remember their names, and not the names of the thousands who partied while they planned. I ask you now, what will you have to show for this season? What fruit will grow from the seed you are, or are not, planting right now? What work are you laying down that will speak for you in December, when the weather turns and your results are exposed to the world? What will your future self say when he looks back at the choices you made in the heat? Will he rise and thank you, or will he curse the weakness that you excused? This season is a test. And the reward for passing it is not just more discipline, it is dominion. Because the man who masters summer masters himself. The man who can build when it's hot, when others are playing, when no one is watching, that man can build anytime, anywhere, under any pressure. He does not depend on external force. He does not need accountability to act. His standard is his spine, and that spine does not melt with the sun. You must become that man. And to do so, I will give you 7 parts of truth. Not comfort, not theory, law. In these 7 parts, you will learn how to turn this summer into your proving ground, your temple of structure, your crucible of identity. You will be given the mental tools, the spiritual truths, the daily instructions to transform this quiet season into the loudest foundation of your life. But you must obey. These are not suggestions. These are principles. And if you follow them, the world will not recognize you by December. But if you drift, if you delay, if you pretend that you can live without law in summer and still harvest in winter, then you will join the masses in cold regret. Now speak it aloud and write it on your mirror. I build when others rest. I plant in heat to reap in winter. Say it again, slowly, with full belief. I build when others rest. I plant in heat to reap in winter. Let that become your code, your creed, your mental signature for every day this summer. And let us now begin. Summer is not a pause. It is a mirror, a magnifier. It is the silent observer that reveals your rhythm when no one is demanding it. When the pressure of obligation fades and the hands of the clock seem slower, it is then and only then that the truth about your internal law is exposed. Most men walk in discipline only when forced. They rise early only when employment requires it. They act only when pain compels them. But when freedom appears, so does their nature. And nature always tells on the man. Summer is that exposure. It removes the external threats, the visible deadlines, the structure of the schoolmaster or the manager. And it asks one question without mercy. Can you still lead yourself when no one is watching? Let me say it to you plainly. The rhythm you obey in summer will become the reality you inherit in winter. It is not just about what you do when the sun is hot. It is about who you become when there is no one to check your effort. When structure is optional and discipline is personal. Most men abandon all order the moment they feel free. But understand this law. Your future does not come from how you behave under pressure, but how you behave under freedom. Because freedom without discipline is not power, it is drift. And drift is the silent assassin of destiny. Do not say, it's just summer. That phrase is the anthem of the forgotten. It is the excuse of the average. It is the opening line of every man who wakes up 10 years from now confused, bitter, and broken, asking why his life never became what he once dreamed it could be. And I will tell you why. Because he broke his rhythm when the world relaxed. He betrayed his pattern in favor of pleasure. He thought he could coast through summer and rise in fall. But he failed to understand that seasons don't delay judgment. They only delay the delivery. And when that delivery comes, in the cold months, in the silent nights, in the realities of December, it does not bring what you wish for. It brings what you trained for. So let us speak now of rhythm. The man who is ruled by rhythm is never ruled by mood. He wakes at the same hour, not because he is forced, but because order is the law of success. He writes his chief aim every morning, not because it is fashionable, but because the mind must be commanded daily. He moves in repetition, not because it is exciting, but because repetition is the womb of identity. Summer tests all of this. When the sun is up longer and the world is quieter, the man of rhythm stays the course. And because of that, he builds wealth in silence while the others waste days they will never recover. Let us remember Abraham Lincoln, not as president, but as the boy who studied law by candlelight while others drank idleness in the heat. He built mental muscles when others were softening theirs. And that rhythm, kept through summer, kept through difficulty, became the spine that carried a divided nation on his shoulders. That is the power of rhythm. That is what this summer can do for you if you obey your structure instead of the seduction of relaxation. So now I ask you, have you broken your rhythm already? Are you waking later than usual? Are your disciplines dissolving with the temperature? Are your intentions as scattered as the parties and events and distractions that now fill your calendar? If the answer is yes, you are losing the season, and with it, you are scripting your regret. But if you rise now, if you recommit now, if you reinforce your structure when no one is forcing you, then you win. Not because it feels good, but because it builds the muscle of consistency under freedom. And that is the muscle that controls empires. You must keep the same wake hour. You must sharpen your aim. You must execute daily. And you must treat each day not as a luxury, but as a test. Because it is. You are not being judged by others. You are being judged by the man you are becoming. And he remembers. He remembers every compromise. He remembers every day you traded discipline for ease. And he will be the one you live with for the rest of your life. So I give you now a command. I obey rhythm. I do not drift. My discipline does not melt with the sun. Say it again. I obey rhythm. I do not drift. My discipline does not melt with the sun. Let that become your internal drum. Let it beat inside you louder than the noise of invitations, temptations, and distractions. Let it guide your choices before the consequences arrive, because they will arrive. The only question is, will they reward or rebuke you? If you rest when others rest, you will serve when others lead. That is the law. And summer is the proving ground of whether you intend to lead or follow. Summer will not only test your rhythm, it will reveal your relationship to solitude. It will answer the question, do you need to be watched to work? Must someone monitor you in order for you to build? Are you only productive when someone holds you accountable, or are you ruled by internal fire? Because if you still need reminders, if you still need supervision, if your actions depend on the presence of a crowd, then understand this clearly. You are still a child in the school of success. You are not yet a commander of your own fate. You are not yet fit to lead, to rule, to create anything that demands real spiritual power. Because the man who depends on external structure will collapse when that structure disappears. And summer is that disappearance. The world goes quiet. The meetings stop. The classrooms empty. The pressures loosen. And it is in that quiet that your true development either begins or dies. The weak man interprets the silence of summer as permission to drift. But the strong man, he sees in it a holy invitation to grow undisturbed. He does not fear the lack of structure. He becomes structure. He does not dread the stillness. He uses it because he understands the truth. Isolation is not punishment. It is preparation. You must become the kind of man who thrives alone, because there will be seasons, many of them, where your growth must happen without applause, without accountability, without anyone clapping for your progress. The man who cannot act in isolation will not last under pressure, because pressure is lonely. Leadership is lonely. The building of anything great requires long periods of silence where your only companion is your own voice and your own vow. Summer offers you this silence, and most waste it. They fill it with noise, with distraction, with entertainment, with escape. They surround themselves with people who do not share their aim because they are afraid of what they'll hear if they sit with themselves too long. But that silence is where giants are formed. Thomas Edison understood this. While others were vacationing, he was locked in his laboratory. Not once, not for a weekend, for entire seasons, because creation was his summer. While others chased comfort, he chased the laws of nature. While others traveled, he discovered. While others drifted, he delivered breakthroughs. And that is why his name endures, because he endured the isolation that others feared. Now ask yourself, who are you surrounding yourself with this summer? What conversations are you keeping alive that keep your greatness dead? What invitations are you accepting that sabotage your identity? What friendships are you maintaining simply to avoid the discomfort of solitude? I am not telling you to be lonely. I'm telling you to be intentional, to create what I call a monastery of the mind, a sacred space and time where you pull back, not to retreat, but to advance, with fewer friends, fewer distractions, fewer indulgences, and more output, more reflection, more production, because this is the law. If you are not creating, you are conforming. If you are not producing, you are decaying. If you are not progressing in silence, you will not progress at all. You must take this season to isolate with purpose, not to sulk, but to sharpen. Use the long days to design. Use the quiet hours to decide. Use the heat to forge the man who does not need to be seen, because he is becoming. Your progress must not be dependent on visibility, because when you are truly becoming powerful, the world will not notice at first, and that is a gift. It gives you time to build in secret, time to remove what weakens, time to strengthen your foundations so that when the storm comes, you are unmoved. Say this with me now, and say it with conviction. I do not fear solitude, I use it. This summer, I am the craftsman of my future. Again, with full belief and identity. I do not fear solitude, I use it. This summer, I am the craftsman of my future, because that is who you must become. A man who does not seek the crowd, a man who does not need the noise, a man who walks away from what distracts in order to walk toward what defines him. The crowd plays in summer, the creator isolates, the drifter seeks company, the builder seeks clarity, and clarity comes not from noise, but from sacred silence, not from being around many, but from going deep within. So disappear, not forever, but on purpose. Pull back, not to run, but to forge. Let others be seen, let others post, let others party. You build, you become. And when the season turns, when the cold months come, when the world starts watching again, you reappear unrecognizable. Summer is not your reward. It is your revelation. It will tell the truth about whether your success is a decision or a decoration. And here is the truth most men avoid: summer lies. It whispers the most seductive deception ever crafted by weakness. You deserve to relax. And the undisciplined man listens. He believes the voice. He repeats it. He builds his days around it. But the builder, the ruler, the man of destiny, he hears the same whisper, and he refuses it, not because he hates rest, but because he has not yet earned it. Rest is not a right. It is a reward. And you, my friend, have not finished building what you said you would. So no, you do not deserve to relax. Not yet. This is one of the great moral errors of the drifting class. They celebrate before conquering. They reward themselves before achieving. They schedule vacations from a war they haven't even fought. And then when the years pass and the fruit of their laziness appears, when their results fall flat, when their goals evaporate, when their confidence decays, they blame the system, the season, the surroundings. But the truth is simple. They trained their mind to expect rewards without effort. And that training becomes identity. And that identity becomes a lifetime of mediocrity. The mind is a disciplined servant, and it records every pattern you approve. If you give it celebration without sacrifice, it will begin to expect victory for mere existence. If you give it ease without earning, it will begin to assume that ease is its right. And once that pattern is set, once you have programmed your subconscious to believe that summer is for comfort rather than conquest, you are no longer a builder. You are a beggar, a man who pleads for blessings he has not earned, a man who asks life to hand him what only effort can unlock. Let me show you the opposite. Andrew Carnegie did not spend his boyhood summers sunbathing or drifting. He worked, he studied, he endured, he developed habits of strength and clarity that would become the steel of his empire. While others chased shade and pleasure, he chased results. He was not afraid of the heat because he knew that the heat trained the will. He was not afraid of fatigue because fatigue revealed his limits. And most of all, he did not fear effort, because effort made him real. While others were seduced by the illusion of rest, he was building the future of nations. What are you doing this summer? Are you replacing discipline with delay? Are you watching the hours float away in the name of balance? Are you negotiating your future just to buy yourself another day of comfort? If so, you are feeding the weakness. You are reinforcing the voice that says ease is earned in advance when your actions prove otherwise. Let us speak plainly. Summer seduces the lazy with ease, but it exalts the builder, not immediately, not with praise, but with elevation. Because when others are feeding their flesh, the builder feeds his vision, and by the time the leaves fall, he stands higher than he did before. While the drifter must restart, recalibrate, re-enter, the builder is already miles ahead, and that distance earned in heat is the foundation of separation. You must learn to walk past pleasure and still serve purpose. You must learn to smell the barbecue, hear the invitations, feel the sun, and still obey your schedule. You must stop acting like every moment of temptation is a reason to pause. That is how the weak are ruled. But you are becoming a king of your domain. And kings are not seduced by comfort. They are forged by conviction. Structure must replace relaxation. And when rest comes, let it come as reward. Not for existing, not for wishing, but for winning. Every hour this summer must be earned. Every moment of pause must be backed by proof. And if you cannot yet prove that you are becoming the man you said you would, then you must return to work. You must sacrifice the illusion of leisure for the reality of legacy. Now let me give you a question, a challenge that cuts through every lie and every excuse. Can you walk past pleasure and still serve purpose? Can you ignore the comfort others chase and remain obedient to your law? Can you command your day without being bribed by entertainment? Can you live by structure while others live by sensation? This is not about denial. It is about dominion. The man who cannot say no to indulgence in summer will not say yes to discipline in winter. And when December comes, and it will come, you will either thank yourself for how you built, or you will curse yourself for how you drifted. So declare it now. Declare it with the full voice of belief. I earn before I enjoy. Summer is my proving ground. Say it again with force and finality. I earn before I enjoy. Summer is my proving ground, because you are not here to escape. You are here to evolve. And summer is not your escape. It is your stage. Use it. Do not trust your goals until they have been tested by heat. Do not trust your discipline until it survives the fire of freedom. The cold months, winter, fall, they are orderly, predictable, structured by demand. The external world forces you into routine. The mornings are sharp, the skies are gray, the responsibilities are heavy. In those seasons, any man can perform. Any man can rise when he is commanded to rise. Any man can follow a plan when life surrounds him with pressure. But heat reveals the truth. When the sun is high, when no one is watching, when the days stretch long and temptations rise like waves, then, and only then, will you know what you truly believe. Because heat strips pretense. Heat removes the mask of motivation. Heat reveals whether your purpose is fantasy or forged in conviction. This is a spiritual law. Faith without consistency is delusion. Do not tell me you believe in your goal if your actions collapse under a little sweat. Do not tell me you want to be great if your vision melts with the temperature. If you can only be consistent when conditions are ideal, then you are not walking in purpose. You are walking in illusion. And illusion will fail you the moment the fire comes. And let me be even more direct. If heat can stop you, so can fear, so can pressure, so can failure, fatigue, embarrassment, rejection, distraction, discomfort. If you are the kind of man who pauses when his shirt sticks to his back or when the world offers a breeze, you will never last in the war for your destiny, because that war does not happen in comfort. It happens in the extreme, and you must be trained to move through sweat, not around it, because that sweat, that strain, that heat is the forge, and the forge does not destroy you, it refines you. Charles Schwab understood this. When others took summers off, he accelerated. While competitors paused, he expanded. He used the heat not as an excuse to delay, but as proof of seriousness. His decisions in the heat made him the right hand of Andrew Carnegie, because Carnegie understood what most never will. A man who obeys his plan in the heat can be trusted with the weight of an empire. He is not ruled by weather. He is ruled by law. And you must become the same. What are your goals for this summer? Not vague ideas, not empty desires. Definite goals. Have you set them? Have you declared them in public? Have you committed to checkpoints, deadlines, and disciplines? Or have you told yourself, I'll revisit it after vacation. I'll start again when the fall comes. I just need a little time off. Let me warn you, time off from purpose is time given to decay. When you delay your aim, you do not pause your life. You weaken your command. Every time you compromise your standard under heat, you teach your subconscious to flinch when challenged, and a flinching man will never dominate. So I instruct you now, set your August goals before June ends. Declare them publicly. Build the plan. Track the checkpoints. Sweat through the schedule. Obey the clock. Execute daily. Burn the excuses. Burn the fantasy. Burn the softness that says, take it easy, it's just summer. Because if the heat can stop you, everything else will too. But if the heat cannot stop you, if you can keep your pace when others fade, then you are building a spine stronger than steel. You are proving to the deepest part of yourself that your word is law, your purpose is non-negotiable, and your path is immune to pleasure. Say this now with full belief. I burn in summer to shine in winter. My purpose thrives in discomfort. Again, louder and with more finality. I burn in summer to shine in winter. My purpose thrives in discomfort. This is how you reclaim your spiritual authority. This is how you silence the weakness. This is how you rise. Not with fantasy, but with forged action. The heat is not your enemy. It is your test. Pass it, and you gain the crown of consistency. Fail it, and you will return to the cycle of relapse and regret. Let the heat become your forge. Step into it. The man who fails to plan in summer is the man who begs in winter. The world is full of men who react to life. They wait until the year is over to reflect. They wait until results are missing to investigate their failure. They wait until the snow falls to wonder why their harvest is barren. But the wise man, the man who leads, the man who rules, plans before the end arrives. He does not wait for the calendar to command him. He commands the calendar. He uses summer not merely to work, but to design, to architect the life he intends to dominate, because he knows this one truth. If I do not build my blueprint now, I will be handed someone else's by December. Summer is not just a test of rhythm or endurance. It is a test of vision. The heat may tempt your body, but it is the stillness of the season that challenges your mind. Will you drift through it as another series of days, or will you use this space to architect the rest of your year? What does your August look like? What will your October speak of? What strength will your December carry? These answers are not given. They are planted. And summer is the soil. Most men don't lack power. They lack a plan. They drift not because they are lazy, but because they are unclear. And clarity does not arrive by accident. It arrives through design, through written targets, through structured repetition, through the act of stopping to ask, what do I want? What must be done? What must be removed? If you do not sit with your future, you will be ruled by your past. And the past always repeats itself in the life of the man who fails to organize the present. I command you now to plan, not vaguely, not later. Now, in this season, while others nap in the sun, you will write. While others attend parties, you will strategize. While others think they're escaping stress, you will organize dominion. Because the man who builds in silence wins in the open. Let the world sleep. You are awake. You are arranging the future like a general before battle. Let me give you structure, real, actionable, divine. One goal for skill. What new strength must be mastered before this year ends? What ability will elevate your power, your business, your influence? One goal for finance. What income target must be met? What habits must be enforced? What plan will ensure that money obeys your intention, not your fear? One goal for habit mastery. What weakness must be burned? What practice must become law? What daily behavior will define the new version of you? Then each day, review. Each week, audit. Each month, correct. Do not wait for the year to end and hope you aimed well. That is the way of the poor. The powerful adjust in motion. This is how Henry Ford moved. Summers were not rest, they were design. When others paused, he tested. When others drifted, he adjusted. He used the heat to make machines more efficient, systems more intelligent, strategy more ruthless, so that when the leaves fell, he wasn't preparing, he was dominating. That is what you must become. A man who walks into winter already victorious. Stop allowing seasons to lead you. Lead them. You are not a leaf blown by the wind. You are the architect of the storm, but only if you build, and you must build now. Speak this aloud with the force of a builder, not a dreamer. I lead my year before it begins. My summer decisions are my winter rewards. Say it again. This is not repetition. This is reprogramming. I lead my year before it begins. My summer decisions are my winter rewards. Because the man who fails to design in summer will be forced to serve another man's design in winter. And the time to choose is now. There is no sorrow deeper than the sorrow that comes from self-betrayal. And no betrayal begins louder than in summer. Summer is quiet on the outside, but it is loud in the subconscious. This is the season where most men lie to themselves. They say they are taking a break, when in truth, they are taking a step backward. They say they're catching their breath, when in truth, they are abandoning their vow. They claim to be recharging, but their results reveal the opposite. Because a man who was once moving toward power and suddenly pauses knows deep within he is slipping. And that knowledge, buried under the noise of distractions and parties and passive days, will return. It will return when the air turns cold. It will return when the goals are not met. It will return when the mirror demands answers. And it will return as regret. Regret is not caused by failure. It is caused by ignored instruction. Regret is the voice of conscience crying out. You were told what to do, but you didn't do it. You knew the season. You knew the mission. You had the tools. You had the mind. You had the breath. And still, you chose drift. And drift never looks dangerous in the moment. It looks pleasant. But it is poison served in sweetness. Drift never announces itself with pain. It offers you false peace. And that peace turns into agony when your future arrives and finds your hands empty. Let me speak to you directly. Your laziness now is writing the sorrow of your future. I do not say that to insult you. I say that to awaken you, because you still have time. You still have the strength, but the clock is not infinite. This season is the only one you control. Once it passes, it becomes prophecy. A prophecy that will be fulfilled in the chill of December, in the silence of your unmet expectations, in the weight of dreams delayed again. You must now make this decision. Will I face my drift while I still have time to correct it, or will I carry it with me into regret? Think of the man you will be in December. Where will he be living? What will he have produced? What will he say about you, the man who controlled the summer? Will he rise and bless you for your structure, your sacrifice, your sweat? Or will he weep because you turned away from the altar of effort and knelt before the God of comfort? Understand this. Every summer decision echoes in winter. Every missed day compounds. Every compromise will confront you. And every act of obedience, every small decision to rise, to stay focused, to act, will return to you with interest. This is the law. Every man of wealth and power used seasonal downtime to gain mental edge. While the world slept, they prepared. While the world drifted, they sharpened. While the world wasted, they planted. And in winter, they reaped what others forgot to sow. You are not exempt from this law. You are not so clever, so unique, so spiritually gifted that you can neglect the pattern and expect reward. That is pride. And pride leads to collapse. But humility says this: I must track, I must record, I must correct. So I instruct you now, record your summer decisions and keep a journal, every hour, every habit, every excuse. Track every missed day. Not to shame yourself, but to awaken discipline. Face your drift immediately. No delay, no justification, no negotiation. If you lie to yourself in July, you will weep in December. Say these affirmations aloud, not for hype, but for judgment. I do not lie to myself about my effort. I use summer or I lose it. Say it again, slower, deeper, until it settles into your subconscious. I do not lie to myself about my effort. I use summer or I lose it, because that is the truth. Summer is not neutral. It is either your advantage or your enemy. It either builds you or betrays you. Identity is not built in the moments when others are watching. It is not constructed in applause, in affirmation, in external celebration. Identity is not born in public. It is forged in silence. And no season gives you more silent opportunity to forge than this one. Summer, the long days, the relaxed pace, the absence of structure, the abundance of temptation. These do not destroy you. They reveal you. And what they reveal is who you truly are becoming. You may call yourself disciplined, but are you rising at the same hour now that the pressure has faded? You may claim to desire greatness, but do your days reflect that desire now that the world is sleeping? You may believe that you are committed, but what are you doing when no one is demanding anything of you? Let me speak it to you plainly. This summer will be remembered, not because the sun was high, not because the vacations were taken, not because the days were long. Number, it will be remembered by the man you chose to become while the world forgot its purpose. There are seasons of testing and there are seasons of becoming. This is both. This summer is not casual. It is not accidental. It is divine. It is a furnace. It is an anvil. It is a hammer striking the molten metal of your will, shaping you into something permanent. You must understand this. All identity is seasonal repetition. You do not become powerful because you had one day of insight. You do not become disciplined because you read one book. You do not become confident because you said one affirmation. These are sparks, but you are not made of sparks. You are made of the fire that continues after the spark fades, and that fire is built in ritual, daily, summer rituals, not when you feel like it, not when it's easy, not when it's convenient. Every day, that is the law. That is how identity is built, not spoken, proven. And if you fail to build it now, you will continue to live under the same name, in the same body, carrying the same fear, following the same weakness, 1 year older, but not 1 inch stronger. You must craft your summer creed. You must write it. You must speak it. You must declare who you are becoming and what this summer means. Not in vague terms, not with soft ideas, in law. Who is the man you are choosing to become? What is his wake-up time? What does his calendar look like? What habits does he keep? What language does he speak? Who does he ignore? What does he tolerate? How does he use pain? How does he deal with temptation? What is he building? Write it, declare it, and then obey it. You cannot afford to drift another season, not because you'll lose time. Time is always lost in drift, but because in losing time, you lose self. And that is the great tragedy. Most men do not die of failure. They die of forgetting. They forget who they were meant to become. They forget what they once burned for. They forget the vow they made to themselves in moments of clarity. They remember comfort. They remember entertainment, but they forget purpose. And a man without purpose becomes a machine without power. His movements continue. His responsibilities carry on. But he has no force. He has no fire. He has no memory of greatness because he traded it for the numbness of seasonal pleasure. Burn your old self daily. Do not let him linger. Do not let him whisper. Do not let him suggest that you've done enough, that you're only human, that you deserve a break. He is the voice of death, and you must kill him every morning. Kill him with your decisions. Kill him with your calendar. Kill him with your discipline. And bury him with evidence, the evidence of work done, the evidence of standards enforced, the evidence of temptation resisted, the evidence of identity enforced when no one was looking. You must finish this season with proof, not hope, not motivation, not a plan. Proof. A new body, a new income, a new routine, a new standard, a new name, a new way of walking, a new sound in your voice. You must become unrecognizable to the man you were when summer began. Because if you are still recognizable by September, you did not build, you wasted. Look at every great man you admire: Ford, Carnegie, Edison, Lincoln, Schwab, Rockefeller. Do you think they rose by accident? Number. They treated time like war. They treated each season like a sacred appointment. They did not wait until others caught up. They separated when others rested. And now you say you want to rise. Then you must obey the law. Separate when others sleep. Act when others delay. Speak truth when others lie. Move when others pause. This summer is your test of command. It is your chance to lead when there is no crowd, to rule when there is no throne, to execute when there is no pressure. That is what builds the man. That is what builds power. Say this with absolute conviction. Let your entire being hear it. I remember who I was, but I do not return to him. This summer I rise. In December I rule. Say it again, and say it louder, slower, deeper. I remember who I was, but I do not return to him. This summer I rise. In December I rule. Because it is done. You have been warned. You have been instructed. You have been given every principle, every structure, every fire, every frame required to build yourself now. Not next season, not later. Now, if you delay, you will die as the same man who entered this season. But if you decide now, if you declare now, if you burn your weakness and rise each day as a soldier of vision, then you will enter December as a ruler, a builder, a man with evidence, a man with identity, a man who no longer hopes but commands. This summer will not pass without meaning. This summer is your altar. This summer is your battlefield. This summer is the final warning or the first rebirth. Choose, obey, rise, rule.